Hello, everybody. I don't know what that weird thing was about. StreamYard might be having some issues. Welcome to the pre-show. We're going to be having a show today talking about the news of the day. I'm going to go ahead and send the invites out. News of the week, I'm sorry. So we are sending out the links now. We're going to be playing some stuff. This will maybe be a normal thing. I'm trying it out right now, seeing about if I like it or not. Basically, a show that starts the show. Jax, turn that down for me, baby. We got the lights on because it's still time. Jaxie, turn volume down. So I'm sending out the invites. We're gonna have public invites. So we're gonna have a good show today, and I'm just gonna take a quick break to show you something from this week. So this is one of the amazing projects that I actually got from Kickstarter that came in this week, and I'm going to show you another one right after that. Time for another edition of Mail Call. Let's see what I've got today. So we got some extra bubble wrapping, and you guys actually got to hear about this on the news as this creator was out there talking to us recently about how he was going to package this. There's that Gemini mailer. Here we go. It is Nightwolf. There we go, issues 4. And I got 2 different covers. How cool is that? And look at all the cool backer swag you get in here. And this is Rob Molitar. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, but proud Nightwolf backer. Look at that. Look at these images. This is definitely stuff you'll see around my set for the news. You got the Nightwolf bookmark. Check all this out. Super awesome. And you can get all these amazing items. I'm trying to see if there's a website, and there's more actually, at lonewolfcomics.com. And that was what was in today's mailbag for excuse me, for you guys to enjoy. I'll see you in the next mail call. Hopefully I won't sneeze then. And I do have actually a live mail call. I didn't even expect our guests to be here, but I was cleaning up the house today and didn't even know I had this. All right, I don't have the package because the package was somewhat damaged when it came in. The box was ripped, so I don't want to show that off. But look what came in. I actually got Go Wano guys. So I not only am pushing it, but I am a fan of it. Look at the back. Cool stickers and all that. The box took the damage though. So yeah, the box took the damage. So nothing to worry about. It actually held up. The inside looks great. So I was going to do this tonight, just show it off in this pre-show, because during the pre-show we're just hanging out. Mark, tell them who you are and tell them what you got going on.
Yeah, hey, I'm Mark Darden, air traffic controller. I keep planes in the sky, everybody live, do a good job at it. But I also make comics. I also like to make comics. It's a lot of fun. I used to do stand-up comedy, and I love comic books, so I put those 2 things together, and I make a funny comic book with really ridiculous, silly characters who do wild and ridiculous stuff. And Guano Guy number 3 is currently what we got up, and it's a ton of fun. I've put some stuff into it that I don't think I've ever seen in a comic book before, and I don't think anybody else has seen it either. So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting, and to have a comic book where I can say, hey, if you check this out, you'll see something you ain't seen before.
I do love the experience of Guano Guy. It's not necessarily would you call it an all ages book?
I think it's really close. There's no adult language. There's very little to no adult situation, like maybe the slightest hint, but you'd have to know to catch it. There's no gore. I think it's definitely a comic book where if a parent thinks, their kid's got a good maturity level, that they can read it, and if they have a question, you can explain it to them. But I think it's mostly big kids who are going to get all the jokes and the humor and the cultural references, and it's a thinking man's comic to a little bit. As ridiculous of a comic as it is, you got to it makes you think a little bit. But I definitely think a parent can read it and then hand it to their kid, and you're not going to need to worry about it.
To me, it really speaks to and I'll put myself, I know it's weird to be on screen by yourself. To me, it always felt like a 90s comic. Like it had that kind of energy. It kind of had that bravado of like, this is what we're doing. This is who we are. You're going to like it. We're going to be sarcastic. We're going to be fun. Like the Animaniacs. I saw that the Animaniacs has released their date. I always think Animaniacs, like Goanna Guy would fit so well into that universe. The Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons, Animaniac universe within a second wouldn't even seem out of place. But he actually traveled to other indie books as well.
Yeah. He hung out with Geek Girl. So did Mr. Marvel's Man. They showed up, tried to help out, and then ran away. Went back home, so they couldn't make it a profit.
I mean, right?
And one of Guano Guy's villains is hanging out at Geek Girl Party. Also, the Guano Guy made a very, very small appearance in a wrestling comic.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's working out at the gym where the wrestlers were working out to get ready for their matches.
I'm not sure I even knew that. That's so cool. So, tell us a little bit about this issue, because we're a bunch of issues in, right? So, talk to us about this particular issue.
Yeah, it's the third issue in the ongoing series after those 4 issues of short story ones that we did before. And this current issue, I mean, he fights in Guano way, battles a guy obsessed with puppets by like you fight fire with fire, fight puppets with puppets.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Fighting puppets with puppets makes a lot more sense than fighting fire with fire, because wouldn't that just add to the fire, and then you've just made the fire stronger?
I don't. You'd have to ask the firemen in California. I really hope they're doing better, because I know you guys were somewhat affected by that, right? Where you are?
Yeah, we were down to a quarter mile of visibility. Smoke was pretty bad. Had some there was air filters running in the house to try to keep it a little safer, and I was starting to think about fleeing the area.
You must just be tired of fire at this point. You guys must be so over. Like this winter, no matter how cold it gets, you'll just be cold.
Yeah. But he battles a guy with puppets. Then he's battling a choreographer. So a choreographer with mannequins, and we got park mascots complaining about their jobs. Reporter Rita Ratika is having moral conundrums, and then we've got just a wild series of short stories on a bunch of different topics where we're sending bears into space and they don't really know what they're doing. We got a second part to the zombie life story, following the adventures of the zombies trying to figure out how to survive in a world full of superheroes, which is not easy to do, because it's not like running into regular people where zombies can eat them and people are afraid. With superheroes, they ain't too worried about zombies. It's not a big deal.
I mean, how would Guano Guy? It piques my interest in instantly wondering, how would Guano Guy actually handle that? It's an interesting quandary for him, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, and we check in on Mr. Marvelous Man, who's always just childishly not really getting what's going on. He's there, he's powerful, he could help, but will he realize that help is needed? Probably not.
Now explain Marvelous Man, because I've heard you explain Guano Guy, but you haven't done a lot of explaining about Marvelous Man.
Yeah, Mr. Marvelous Man's he's basically a big kid at heart, and he kind of takes everything at face value. It's all just black and white to him. Whatever you tell him, he'll believe you. So, like when his manager was like, "Yeah, it's fine to take endorsement deal money for backing hamburgers that are terrible for people." Okay, sure, yeah, no problem. He tries to help an old lady get home this time. Doesn't do it very well. He also it flies over the park when these battles are going on, and you got to read the comic, but he just doesn't see it that way.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. And I mean, it is hilarious. It is a feel-good time that I love every second of it. You did a great job, and you know, we need more comics like that are just silly good times that really entertain. And last pitch, because we're running out of time, we actually have to start the regular show. Tell them why they should back it.
It's probably the funnest comic you could read. It really is. It's hard to say that, but I really do think it is the funnest comic you could read. The gags are good. It is sneakily insightful. It's sneaky smart. Not like you're just gonna read stuff, and when you really think about it, it's like, oh, that's kind of a good point, but still funny, still humorous. Like, it's just such a good time, such a break from the day. It's the kind of book like you're just gonna get to smile and relax and enjoy. It's fun. It's just so fun, and it's so childishly fun. You know, it reminds you of being a kid.
And who doesn't like being reminded of being a kid? I know I do. I'm such a fan. I'm actually told to grow up all the time, as a matter of fact. We'll have a couple more guests. You have to go? Are you doing your own video now?
Yeah.
Mark won't be joining us, but at least I get to hang out with them. This pre-show is just a warm-up.
Absolutely.
We're the warm-up act. The real stars are coming. But go do your video.
Okay, buddy.
And we're going to play an intro in just a minute. I wanted to show you the other book that came in the mail this week. And I'll talk to you later, Mark.
See you later, Rob.
Here's the other book that came in the mail this week. Oops, there it is. Welcome to Mail Call. And no, this isn't some dating service to find men. This is where we open things that we get in the mail. I've got this package all the way from across the pond. Sometimes we'll know who sent it, sometimes we won't, but this one is a book I've been waiting for a long time. Great packaging. Let's see what we got in here. Oop, there we go. And here we go. And, ooh, I really dig this. I'm trying to be very, very gentle. And Ines, I think, forgot that I told her, because this is from Ines, I think she forgot that I told her not to send me all the books. I backed the publishing thing just so it could save her on money. So I'll have a few extra copies, and I'll make sure to give them out to anyone who wants to read this, just to get her work out there. Super thrilled to get this book. Came so beautifully done. And here is, look at that art. That'll definitely wind up in the background of our show. So this is from Ines, all the way from England. I can't wait to read this show, and you might even be getting a review out of me this week. So this is Iva, and this is a beautiful artwork. Absolutely love the imagery. So that was what was in today's mail call. All right, we're going to run the promo for you guys. You just saw it pop up for a second. We're going to go ahead and start the show. On the other side of it, we should have some guests. Everyone is welcome onto this show. This is like being at a bar. Show up and we'll yell your name like Norm. This is just us hanging out, talking about the big stories of the week that you picked. Four you picked, one I picked. I wanted to make sure that I had the power to bring up a story that I thought might have gotten overlooked no matter what people voted on. Because, Keanu, what are comics?
Comics are awesome.
Welcome to the Comics News Wire, where we get our news from the comics newsroom found at comicbookadvocates.com. This show is anchored by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Join him and his co-anchors as they give you the comics news coming off the wire. This show is brought to you in association with, and it is brought to you by, I haven't gotten it over here, in association with IndieVolt, Recharge Your Fandom. And they have shows at the 9, They also bring us our mainstream news during the week. They're our mainstream news market watch, and you can find them on Indie Vault Radio and on Roku. And I will get that video as soon as I find it. For some reason, I'm having trouble finding it. But we also have some other people bringing, including comicbookadvocates.com is the global digital Comic-Con, but it's more than that. And you can be more too. Be more than just a fan. Become an advocate for comics like comicbookadvocates.com is for their creators, for their crowdfunding, for the very books they're creating, because we love comics.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And welcome to the show. We're officially beginning now. Everyone is welcome. There should be the links in the different areas that you're watching it. If there's not, we can directly message you one. We are just waiting for everyone to show up. Of course, this is part of the news program. This is going to be our Friday evening show at 9 p.m. where you guys voted on all the top topics. And we want to bring it up. Oop, I just did something silly. I've got to get rid of something. I put JD's invite in his actual page instead of sending him an actual message. So let's send him a message, get JD in here. Meredith said she's coming, and you guys can come as well. Like I said, the doors are open. So let's take a quick look at how this all came together this week, the different stories, and we're going to read off all the stories. JD is showing up right now. But right now, I just want to give you guys an idea of all the different stories that we had covered this week in a quick wrap-up. And then as soon as I'm done with that wrap-up, we'll be right back to talk to JD. Actually, let's let JD in on this so we can actually have commentary. JD, introduce yourself.
How you doing, everyone? My name is JD Calderon. I'm the writer and creator of the Oswald Chronicles. Currently available on Indiegogo, so go check it out. And I also have a YouTube channel under JD Calderon where I interview independent creators, and I can be found on Facebook.com and Twitter.com, also under JD Calderon. Thank you so much. Back to you, Rob.
Well, actually, now we're going to bring in Meredith. Meredith, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Meredith Lochran. I am a associate editor at Geek Insider, as well as the project coordinator of IndieVent.com. And yeah, I was just telling Rob that I was going to hang out in the background. He put me on camera, so hi.
Oh, I didn't know you weren't coming on. I'd asked if you wanted to come hang out.
Yeah, no, it was okay. I was just getting settled in. I was running a little bit late. Back to you, Rob.
Well, I mean, this has been an exciting week for comics. It definitely has been one of those weeks to remember. We definitely are in I think a different gear for 2020. We're seeing a lot of people show up on crowdfunding. We've seen a lot more people getting excited. A lot more people have been involved, and we've had some great topics this week. What do you guys think? Are comics starting to become more center stage because we're one of the few entertainment industries out there in front and center?
I wouldn't go that far because we are our own little microcosm. You understand?
Yeah, we get covered by CNN now every week. We've been on a streak now where CNN's covered something from comics every week for 10 weeks now almost.
Do you think that's thanks to Keanu?
No, it was before Keanu. They were talking about all different things. Keanu, it all started ironically with a story about Diamond. Diamond became another story. Another outlet started covering us. The Birdwatcher was another story that wasn't not really a story you wanted, but it was something that got us some attention as an industry. So, and I mean, just take a look at all these now that I'm done stalling and I actually have it up. I'm going to show you guys all the things that were this week. Here we go. So these are all the topics from this week, and you guys are going to know what the stories are by the time we get to the end of it, and I'll show the official poll. A Batman character might have just quit. Red Hulk returns. Scoot introduces Claire, and Scoot is the new offshoot from Scout for the younger reader. DC introduces the new Mindhunter Nightmare Batman. Zack Snyder confirms that they will be shooting additional footage with Affleck, Cavell, Gabat, thank you, Fisher. WandaVision trailer showed up. Batman Day was confusing because it showed up on 3 different days, and it was awesome. So we all love Batman. DC might have just killed a Superman. Oh my God. Bendis, what are you doing on your way out? Vera Sam asked us series or one shot. Peacemaker's getting its own series. Batman and introduced Joker with a Batman-like costume. Ball State video about research papers. Elysian Fields, the Pyramid Gamut, launched live on our network. Scout Comics teams with Simon & Schuster, Star Wars, Mark Hamill and Star Trek's Patrick Stewart face off in an Uber Eats commercial. How can just $1 help crowdfunding by Guano Guy and John the Animator? And we're going to go in reverse order. So our 4th story of the week, and a big one at that. Here it is. Scout Comics signs distribution deal with Simon & Schuster. How big of a deal is this for Scout and our industry? What do you guys think?
I think it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Simon & Schuster is just, that's book publishing. For them to have this this collaboration, I don't know if you want to call it a strategic partnership or if it's just just a distribution deal. It's huge for comics.
Well,
Yeah.
for the record, for those watching, this was something that Simon & Schuster was trying to get involved in earlier in the year. When Diamond was having all that problem, their name was thrown around a lot as an alternate distributing deal. So it clearly they want to be in the market. What do you think, JD?
Yeah, this is definitely a huge deal. And I mean, the thing is, Simon & Schuster, they have a huge reach. They're distributing to thousands of stores. It's not just it's probably in the tens of thousands. But it's a big deal because it allows comics to be in different places that they currently aren't. And what's really nice is allowing these creators at Scout to reach new audiences, which is fantastic. And it opens doorways, I think, for everybody. Whether you go through Scout, because you're going to see first is Scout, then it's going to be Volt, and then a couple of these other companies are going to come out and they're going to have similar deals. If not with Simon & Schuster, maybe with one of the other bigger distributors. It's actually a very good thing for everybody, I think.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but doesn't Simon & Schuster, don't they distribute like the Scholastic books and things, the things that are in schools?
No, I think that's just Scholastic itself, but I wouldn't doubt that they somehow work together. I can't speak on that indefinitely. But
yeah, that's why I said I don't quote me on that, but I thought that was something where it was another, kind of strategic kind of partnership to get more books into schools.
Well, I don't think they do the school aspect. I think they might do the Barnes and Nobles aspect because there are Scholastic books that make it to there, and I think they might be distributing through there. But again, I would have to source that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that to be a fact or not. JD, do you know anything about that?
No, I don't, honestly. But like you said, it wouldn't surprise me if they're hooked up in some way.
Yeah, because it's just a giant company. But Scout Comics is making moves, man. If this has been one of those years where you're like, everyone's having trouble, everyone's struggling, you got to look at Scout as someone who's looking, okay, this is 2020. We're going to get past 2020. They're looking over the horizon. They're looking for the future and maybe even changing the game a bit. Me and Luke had said when we were doing the news the other day together as co-anchors that we run Terraform, but they're changing the landscape of comics. Our whole slogan might be out the window. Scout keeps it up. They might actually be changing it before we can even touch it. We might our new slogan will be like picking up after Scout.
I think the only real danger in this is with Simon & Schuster, just like any book publishing. I don't know how much you guys know about this. All that stuff is returnable. So that's the only real danger. If you release 20, 30,000 copies of a book, to these distributors, they can return the entire run. And that nearly destroyed Antarctic Press a few years ago when Walmart did it to them. So this is one of the things that everybody had, and this is that, that every publisher needs to be leery about this. So yeah, that's the only danger. Sorry to be a downer about it, but
Well, in all honesty, we don't know their contract. For all we know, there was actually, because with distributing comics, if they're doing floppies as well, we don't know yet. Speculating if they're doing floppies as well. There's different cost parameters with that. I think it'll hurt you more with trades.
Oh yeah.
And the Walmart thing, that was also if I remember the story correctly, Alterna messed that up too. There was a problem where it wasn't as clean cut as everything is. Everyone looked bad in it. No one did well in that, and it was something that set things back. I don't remember the story again. We'd have to actually go research it, but I do think it is. Co-host from today said, "Big deal. Sands shows they Simon and Schuster, yeah, shows they consider the comic medium as a viable business. Comics are important and awesome." And Nita Taylor Lanning says, "Wow," and I hope I'm saying that right, Nita. Like, because I want to, Nita, right? Meredith, it's on you. You have the weird name, so you know that.
I would say Nita.
Okay. And I think we're going to move on, but this is big deal. Scout making some moves. And speaking of moves, check out these moves from Mark Hamill and Patrick Stewart as they face off in an Uber Eats thing. Have you guys seen this commercial?
I haven't.
Remember, our audience voted for this. So this was number 3. 4 was Scout. This is our 3rd most popular headline of the week. You haven't watched it yet, Meredith?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it either.
You know, today's National Comic Book Day and apparently National Daughter Day. I didn't know you could have 2 different national days.
Oh, yeah. You can have all kinds. It could be National Cupcake Day if you look hard enough.
No, I mean the same day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
you can make a national day and put it on the calendar. Anybody can make a national day, honestly. I actually looked that up a while ago.
there's going to be some national days added very soon to the calendars.
No, but I haven't seen this, and I'm sure that we can't play it. But
and I'm telling you, Uber Eats would like us playing it. They would love us to play it. They would have no problem. But I don't think the contract with. I think what it comes down to is that I don't know how the actors get paid. I don't know if they get revenue or if there's only a certain amount that they're allowed to show the commercial. I just know that we would probably get YouTube coming on with. What are you doing?
I mean, I've got a friend of mine who he was one of the original characters for Fruit of a Loom, and he still gets residual checks every time they play his commercial. So we have to be careful.
Yeah, but I mean, how cool is that? Star Trek, Star Wars finally meet on screen. I don't know if before this point any character that was establishedly known, like headers, met on a screen at the same time. Of course, there's been some crossover in the different shows and universes. Even Frasier was on Star Trek at one point. I don't think he was in Star Wars, but just to show you how big these shows are, a lot of actors have been in it. It's like SVU. Every actor's been killed on SVU, or been a criminal, or been a cop on it. It's just one of those things.
Didn't they have something like a face-off? It was Game of Thrones. It was like a Super Bowl ad last year. It was Game of Thrones, and I forget the other guy, and it was just another face-off. Those are a lot of fun, where you have these characters from different shows kind of facing off, and I think it was like a wrap-off or something like that, maybe for Doritos. I don't know. It was fun.
It's familiar, actually. I definitely think of what you're talking about. You know what it reminds me of? Like that fun and zany time that you can have just being at home. You're just there at your computer, and then, the person you're married to comes over to you, and they show you their shirt.
That's a good shirt.
What's perfect about that shirt is the mouth is right over his belly button. That's what makes it hysterical.
It looks like it might be one of those. It's kind of cool, kind of awesome. I had to share that. I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, we're putting this on the big screen. We can't not. This is now part of the show. This might be the actual opening to the show from now on. That or the Sunday brunch, we'll use that.
Oh yeah, Little Monkey Madness.
But now here's the interesting wrinkle to this, like this Uber Eats commercial. People are now talking about, well, why can't Star Trek and Star Wars cross over? Could you imagine that?
I've been asking that since I was in junior high.
Like, if you were to look at it, the biggest reason would be that it happens a long, long, long time ago from where we are today, and Star Trek happens a long, long, long time in the future. Although it's not as long as it once was, I actually think that we're walking over some of the original dates at this point from Gene Roddenberry's timeline, which is why they retroconned it recently. And it's possible though, time travel, right?
Didn't they do that in Star Trek already?
Oh, dozens of times. Dozens of times. Not Star Wars, but even supposedly there's a way to time travel in Star Wars now too. That's how they're going to get rid of The Last Jedi. That's the rumor, that they're actually going to time travel and actually just erase basically episodes. What would they be? 7, 8, 9. Yeah. They're just going to, there is no 7, 8, 9. I was like, damn, that's cold.
That is a little cold. But I think the real problem is that you have these two companies called Paramount and Disney. They just don't get along.
Yeah, but I mean, Disney will buy Paramount if it's the right price. Add another network. Like, what happened when Fox said no? Oh, you said no, did you? Let's talk about that no. Let's invest your time in your no. Let's see how your no feels in 5 minutes. Suddenly, Family Guy's got a whole new list of things they're not allowed to make fun of.
Sure.
But they did get renewed. One of the topics that we didn't get to talk about tonight on this show, but they did get renewed for 2 more seasons, so it's not all that bad. But yeah, I would love to see how they do that, man. I would just, if they could restart Star Wars, I'll be honest, I really liked the last film, but I'd be okay with washing it away and starting again. Having Kylo Ren be the good guy this time, and have Rey be the bad one. Ooh.
That might be interesting.
Mash up and have Chewie step on like a butterfly in the past. Ah!
What are you smoking, Rob?
Nothing. This is me sober. Be concerned. Be very concerned. I don't need drugs to go there anymore. I can go there anytime I want. That's what happens when you spend your childhood screwing yourself up.
He gets flashbacks.
They said that acid trip actually, you do acid once and the trip can come back at any time. What they don't tell you is that pot and alcohol damage your brain so much that you're always there. It's more trying to act normal than it is be normal at this point. No, but I think that those are awesome scenarios, and I would love to see what happens with that. And you know what? The right writers, there could be some magic there. There really could. I would love to see what they could come up with, but in the
Star Wars story, like 1 through 9 is basically, the Skywalker story, and everything else is, I think if you look in the credits, it says a Star Wars story. It's not Star Wars.
Well,
so that helps differentiate the I think the story arc.
We learned today on the news actually that they're going even further back now and introducing the Skywalker family at an earlier time. And they're going to have like what looks like Ben's lightsaber, Kylo Ren's. Looks like his lightsaber, but put together in a way that makes more sense. It's not just like these glowing objects. There's actually something holding the frame in place. So I'm in. I was like, ooh, that looked like a good toy for Jax. I think he'd love to run around with that. So I'm invested for that one. I definitely would go see that. I'd go see any Star Wars movie or Star Trek movie, to be honest with you guys. They've done enough for me in my lifetime that I'm a fan no matter what. I get upset like a fan, but I'm never going to boycott them. They would have to like put my picture on a Klingon and like have something weird happen to the Klingon for me to not want to watch that anymore. That's what it would take. Because also growing up, a lot of people don't know this. I'm first generation. My mom is from the Ukraine, or she was from the Ukraine. She recently passed. So she was from the Ukraine. Actually, was born in Germany, but my family's from the Ukraine. They came over, and I remember always thinking when I watched the Klingons, I'm like, it's kind of how my family sounds. And I keep looking over to like they sounded like that, and I'm like, there's certain things they're saying, and I'm just like, am I part Klingon?
You could be.
I was like when I was younger, and of course later on we find out the Klingons. Well, at least for me, because I thought Star Trek was live on television as a kid. I had no idea that it had been 20 years before that because we grew up with repeats, basically. When you're an 80s kid, everything was either a repeat or a cartoon. There was no new content except for Bill Cosby, and I know. How dare I bring up Bill Cosby? I can't rewrite my childhood. If I could, Bill Cosby would not be on the top 10 things I changed. Trust me. Bill Cosby was not a problem for me. Other people, yes, he did horrible things, but he was a good inspirational star at the time. You can't take that away from him. He actually did amazing things. Yes, what we found out later, but what you know then isn't what you know now, and we kind of have to remember that.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, you broke my heart too, but we're not going to go in there. We're not going to go in there. I would like to see Star Trek versus Star Wars, though. That would be cool. But we're going to move on to our next topic just so we don't run out of time. Guano Guy asked for $1, and you guys missed him. Mark was here. Mark ran in for my pre-show idea, so every week we're just going to kind of come, hang, chill out. Mark showed up, so I showed what I got this week, and yes, Q's Force Ghost. Ooh.
Q's a Force Ghost.
Ooh, wow. That's deep right there. That just took me to a new level of like, could it be? Could the Q be Jedi? Oh, I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm going to watch Star Trek on one screen, and on here it's going to be Star Wars. I'm just going to try to compare notes. Michael, that's tomorrow. Thank God I'm off tomorrow. First time I'm off in weeks. Don't have a show. Actually, the last time I was off was Memorial Day. That's the last time I didn't have a show during the day. And, of course, I'll have You're Not Alone. You're Not Alone's almost at 200 episodes.
That's crazy. But it's good, though. I hope that you continue that, even though...
I think it's crazier, though. It's been almost 200 days of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's crazy. I will continue You're Not Alone. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and said, it's just me. It's me coming up with an idea, being myself, having the guard down. Like on shows like this, we're smiling, we want to entertain. On that show, I'm like, my feelings are hurt. I'm sad today. This is why the preparation H is not working the way it should. You see the views go straight down, like, oh my God. But you get the one person who's like, I totally understand the day's preparation H isn't enough. And you're like, see, you got me. And
Worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, your friends
connection.
never let you live it down. They send you preparation H in the mail. But joke's on them. I get to use the preparation H. Ha-ha. So we're moving on to Guano Guy. The zany humor is exactly what you can find in this book. And I'm going to let Meredith talk a little bit about this. And ignore the fact that the camera's off. I'm totally not going to the fridge to get a soda.
All right. Well, the Guano Guy #3 and the entire collection is now available on Kickstarter. I mean, if you pledge $1, you're going to get something. He's got goofy names that he's going to make up for you, or you can make your own. He's got the guano bomb, which is an idea that I absolutely love. I would send in a photo, and I would love to have the Guano Guy just photo bombing, like a family photo. I think that would be hysterical. He's got his whole series that's going to be available here, and as well as Geek Girl. Now, I'm not in Rob's screen to kind of scroll down and show what the whole offer is, but it's really cool. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff in here. And honestly, if you head over to Terraform Comics even, you can get the first issue to get an idea of the humor and stuff like that, and the artwork and the fun. And, I think the reason why I love the Guano Guy as much as I do is because it reminds me of my father's humor. It's that 90s kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not raunchy. That's the wrong word. It's kind of like,
it's grunge. It's in your face. It's ha. It's like,
it's kind of thumbing your nose. It's sarcasm, and
it's just saying the dumb thing
that I grew up with. All right, that I'm like, Dad.
It's like when you hang out with your friends and you don't care and you're being honest and just having fun. That's what the 90s was. Now you can only do that on Tuesdays in a bank vault where no one has their phone or camera with them.
Yeah, but I mean, I really enjoyed the artwork. I love the story. I love the humor. And I'm kind of surprised that even that $1 just to get a sneak peek into that hasn't caught on. But he's got a bunch of tiers in here that make it fun. And you get, what is it, 32 pages for the third issue, like the third full issue. And then some other stories. I forgot how did he describe those, like, because he has like the 0 issue, the 0.5 issue, and things. Help me out here, Rob. He's on mute.
He called them shorts.
Shorts, yes. Okay.
Shorts. Sorry, Jax. He's actually passing out, so I had to grab something from him, so he didn't sleep on a phone. So he does this thing with the tablets, like. I keep getting closer to his face, and I hear the inevitable, and that's it. The head hitting his face, and he's so tired. It's just on his face right now. So I took it away from him. But yeah, they're shorts. They're little excerpts of it, and the fact that he even said earlier in the show that he's crossed over with the wrestling book. I forgot the name. You'll have to go to the very beginning of this, but there was a wrestling book that he actually crossed over with, and I thought that was kind of cool too. Zany humor, definitely something out and about that you guys got to check out. And have you actually? I know you've talked to Mark, but JD, have you actually read Iguana Guy?
I haven't had the chance yet to read it yet. I mean, it sounds like a great book. Sounds really interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I just have to get to it. Unfortunately, my pile is like
He crossed over with it. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My pile is probably as tall as I am. So so there's a lot of things on that thing that I have to get to, and it's just like even reading a couple 100 pages a night, it's just not enough.
Yeah, and speaking of piles, on the show today, I happened to be cleaning my house, and one of the packages that I had gotten that I hadn't opened yet was damaged. So I was like, I can't open this on screen. It's not fair to show a damaged package that was from the post office. And I wanted to see, hey, how the comic. It must have been one of the days where we got home and I just threw it in the corner, and I just happened to get to that corner right now. I know, don't judge me. And I got to the corner and I cleaned it today because today was cleaning day, and I have my own guano. See, I money where your mouth is. So.
I love that cover.
No, that's a nice cover.
Yeah, nice book. Here we go. Show off the back for you guys, and I'll give myself the big screen. Check that out. Mm-hmm. So this is it. You see the interiors. Great art. Look at that. Awesome stuff here. You even have the build up to the next issue. And like he said, he's got some of those shorts in the back. So he's got some short stories that go along with stuff. So, I mean, he's creating something that is just fun. And I'll be doing a review of this one because I don't think I did not give him a review of the second one. So I'm going to give him a review of the second. I think you can go back and find my review of the first one. Funny, zany stuff. Definitely something you should do. Animaniacs are coming back because people want this type of content, guys. Get out there, share it with the world. Be excited about Guano Guy. All right, so John the Animator. John the Animator was our top story. He switched to Kickstarter this week and left his Indiegogo going. He's got this. You know what I don't have, Meredith? I thought we had the bump in here in the brands, but we don't have his bump in any of these anymore.
Oh, let me see if I can upload that while you speak. Let me see if I've got those in here.
So, JD, what do you think? There's a new trend being on both at the same time. What do you guys think about that? Or JD, what do you specifically think about that?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. The thing is, because they're different markets, they're different people buying on the separate platforms. So you want to reach as many people as you can. The only way you can do that is by doing campaigns. And I mean, I think it's a smart way to go. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're indie publishers and we need to maximize where we can get as much funding as we can get it from. And that's what he's doing, which is fantastic. It's something I'm doing. I know he's doing it. So,
I could not agree more.
And I am so relieved that he actually hit goal there so that it'll go in demand on Indiegogo. And quite honestly, we were just talking about Star Wars. Why does he have any of those Boba Fett's left?
Yeah.
I am mystified by that.
I'm with you. For those who don't know, and here, let's just play the video. I know you're updating the bump, right? Here, I'll play the bump, then I'll show you what we're talking about with what he's
I've got the Celestries in there, the first one.
Yeah, I saw it. It popped up. So here, check this out. All right, and I'm going to play from his video right here, and we'll just speed it up because I want you to know where this guy's from, because you need to understand. So as soon as the video stops messing around, it'll take us to where we're supposed to be. Anytime Indiegogo, while Indiegogo plays, or YouTube actually, to be fair, while YouTube plays funny, because I think everyone's online tonight, because again, we're in the middle of this this 2020. Let's just call it 2020. We're in 2020, and not everyone gets to go out to the bar now. So this is just a hangout night. I think everyone's Netflixing and chilling. The Boys new episode came out today. Ooh.
Saw it last night. It was awesome.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, they tend to release it the night before, like Thursday night.
I don't have that type of time. I'm in bed. This is like, honestly, Jax is asleep now, and I'll actually get to stay up to like 10:15, 10:30 now. So,
Gotcha.
And while we wait for that to load, we're going to take a quick break to give this video a second to catch up, and we're going to show you something from Luke Stone.
New from Terraform COMiX, Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, Volume 1, Trash Day. When everyday people develop godlike abilities, it is up to a small band of heroes to expose an evil superhuman trafficking ring. This 128-page volume merges history with fiction in an exciting, fast-paced adventure. Get your copy now.
All right, so here we go. I actually went to YouTube. Let's see if we can get to work.
What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000 here with another episode of The Gospel According to Chris. And we have with us yet again John Celestri, the legend of Filmation.
After I got Rough Sketch, and I was reading through it, I rented Dragon's Lair for the Switch. The animation is still beautiful. I remember playing it when I was a kid in the arcade.
And speaking of that, I just wanted to say I want to thank you for this. This is in the whole package here. I have not yet really taken it out. I moved this up front. I haven't taken it out yet because
he does sketches. You're not getting fan art, guys. You're getting real sketches from him. Hand-drawn sketches done by him. That's available right now. And the fact that He-Man, he worked on a Batman cartoon before there was really a Batman cartoon. I think, of course, there was a Batman cartoon in the 60s. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Batman adventures that a lot of us kind of grew up with now in the 90s. Right before that, he did some work on there, and it looked like they took some of the stuff he did and integrated it in there. Just an amazing creator. And we have to remember, as creators that are here now, to look back and support the ones who came before us, because they paved the way. They've inspired us, and it's our turn to pay that back. So we want to definitely do that. So
he worked on Rock and Roll, and if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. For some reason, we had something carry over from the different room, but that's available now on his campaign. And let me see if he has it up here in the sketches. No, he has that though. We'll put that so the video doesn't come up suddenly. And it's comics for kids or early teens, tweens as they're called. Do you know my niece is about to be a teenager? I am so worried for the world. Another Anderson's going to be a teenager. So, world, you've been warned. Run. Here we go. Here it is. I promise we're getting there. I promise it's going to be worth the wait. If you're, there it is. If you're a Boba Fett fan, this is for you. This could be a Christmas gift, guys. He's going to get these out in time for Christmas. This is something we're checking out and being part of.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think he's only got 100 of them that he's offering. And there are so many left. I'm like, what are you waiting for? You know? I mean, seriously, I actually got this tier because I have the Snuffy and Zoe for the babies, you know? And then Mega Moose, I'll probably hold on to until they're a little bit older. But that Boba Fett's mine. And the Ash Can, it's mine. So a little bit of something for everybody under the Christmas tree. I can't wait.
No, it's going to be great stuff, and we really hope that you guys get behind this. So that was the top story picked by you, the audience. Before we go to my pick, we have about, I'd say 13 minutes. I'm going to pass it around to the room. You just had the week in comics. How did your week in comics personally go? For me, it was ups and downs. I actually stopped the Devil's Advocate. I announced there'd be no more Devil's Advocate. It was, believe it or not, a hard decision, but not hard to make. It was just hard to admit. It was the moment where the show had become an echo chamber, and I didn't like that. I wanted to focus on what we're doing now with the CNW. The CNW, I think, has got great potential. I think that this could, because I'm going to ask you guys in the room while we have a couple of minutes. Do you guys know anyone doing the news for comic book creators? Anyone who does anything close to this program?
Not like this program. I mean, I see other people who will share news about their publisher, you know, I mean, but they really keep it in house. But as for like that whole broad scope of just comics news in general,
and
mainstream and indie.
Yeah, and the mix. And people have even suggested that we stop segregating them and mix them together. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, because it's very hard to go from, hey, this is Batman. Oh, look at this indie creator's thing. The person's ears might be ringing. That's why I always do indie first, because, you know, I don't want to, like, because I think indie's got some powerful creators, and that's what we're doing. I wanted to give something back. And I said it today on my thing. A lot of people are asking why I'm so interested in CNW. It all comes down to, we did this, and JD's been around long enough to remember it, the Written Sins Network, WSN, back when my site was Written Sins. We did something similar. The technology wasn't there. I didn't have this ability to do these screen changes. We were using Google Hangouts, and my phone was like here, and it was recording the screen, and that's how you got it. I couldn't be on Google at the same time. That was not heard of. I couldn't be in 5 different places like we are today. I can't have the problems where right now people are like, oh, Facebook's laggy, because it was just literally on here. That was the show. I had a camera here. That's how we first started. So now with the technology that we have, it's time for a show like this where I could put like JD and move around. I really hope they move it so I can move people behind the screens at the bottom. But for now, I can actually switch people. When I do that and I go like this, JD's now the host. And I like that. I like that aspect, and I like all that. And again, anyone can do a program where they sit around and shit talk. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it either. I'm just saying that's an easy program to do. It's an easy program to talk just about you and your publisher. It's an easy program to sit around and talk about what you're creating. No one's out there except for comic book resources, comic book news. They do shows, but they're cherry picking stuff. I'm inviting people to show me. We have a Comics Newswire email center. We have our site, the Comic Book Advocates Network. Geek Insider gives me things to cover, and I cover it, because we are the comic book wing of Geek Insider. And of course, we work with Indie Vault to get stories out. We communicate with each other. We pass each other information. So we're working on that advocating trinity, as we've called it. I can make a difference with this show for creators. I can't make a difference when I'm the Indie Devil. All I'm doing is talking about my opinions and being smarter than the other person in the room to prove my point. It's really the goal of that. Well, on this show, I can actually just sit here and tell you about a mouse, JD's mouse. I can tell you that Meredith has an amazing story that can come to life if you guys go and back hybrids, because not only is it going to be on Indiegogo, but it's going to be on Kickstarter too. And on Kickstarter, we can get to that $8,000 goal, and you could actually make Meredith a published creator, and she's had a lot of experience. She called herself the comics noob. She's at the point where I would say that title doesn't even fit anymore. She's been through it enough. She's seen enough. She's the comics. She's green. The green comics. The comics green. That's what she is. She's green now. She's not no longer new. That's like we got to do that. Like we have infant, toddler. We need to find out how to call you creators who are toddlers now. You're not infants anymore. You're not newbies. You're toddlers. You're the ones who are cute, and you give us the ideas that you think none of us thought about. Well, and we saw that during the pandemic. I've never seen anyone do a show that actually brings indie creators on to actually talk about their books. And it's like, oh, you're cute. You're new, aren't you? You're new. This is your first day doing this, isn't it? Yeah, you'll see. Because the more you do stuff, the more you're going to bump into the other shows doing that stuff. Right. And I'm not trying to take a dig at any show. It's important to have all those shows. What I'm saying is there wasn't this reverse show. This one show that was every day that just told the news. We give it to you as quick as we can. We pace it as fast as we can. And I want people to give me 60-second videos to play. So I can start having because you watch the news, you get viewer clips, viewer pictures and stuff like that. Bombard us with extra stuff and let it be your show as well as us. The Devil's Advocate was never going to be anything that everyone could watch. The news is every day. And I don't curse. This is the one show, because we're in prime time, where I'll curse and not give myself a fine. For those who don't know, every time I curse, I have to pay for it. Unless I back something that day, and I already got my curse lined up for the day. But I do that because I want people like JD to feel like I'm taking this serious. When JD sees me not cursing, he's like, he must be serious, because I know Rob's like a truck driver. He wakes up and he says, fuck, the first thing in the morning. What are you going to say, JD?
So how much do you charge yourself?
What do you mean charge myself?
Well, you said yeah, for the cuss.
$1. I have to back a campaign for $1 that day, and I have done it every time.
Mm-hmm. So I have to piss you off at least 32 times per show.
Well, you wouldn't get back to your own campaign 32 times. It would be someone else's campaign.
Well, listen, I'm very generous. That's fine. You can share it out. I don't have a problem with that. I don't
think JD understands the technology that we deal with. But usually it is to get rid of someone who makes Rob angry.
You've been banished, JD.
But JD, it wouldn't be the first time.
How was your creative week?
Creatively, has been fine. I've been struggling along with my own internal demons. We all do that. Because for me as a writer, you sit down and you're like, damn, I suck, right? And you sit back and you navel gaze and you think about it. And you're like, you know what? In the end, the only thing I can do is write. And you just keep writing.
And he froze.
And today I'm trying to be a better writer today than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I'll try to be a better writer than I am today. And that's all I can do for myself. I'm not trying to be, better than anyone. And pretty much that's been my week. My week's been pretty quiet. The only thing is, watching Keanu Reeves' Berserk Kickstarter shoot out. I mean, it's past 1 million.
Is it now?
Yeah, it's past 1 million, and I think I don't know if it's already broken the goal of being the most funded comic book.
No, it's got technically, if you count Spawn, you have to get close to 3 million now, because everyone's like, "Oh, it's an action figure," but no, it came with a comic. Well, so every one came with a comic. So the argument is that's the most, because the semantics of it. But no, I think it's $2 million. That stick figure book that never got delivered, by the way. It still has problems. We only knew this because someone made an issue when Ethan Van Sciver made some money. And suddenly people lost their mind and tried to denounce him, saying, well, he hasn't made the most on crowdfunding, but he's approaching, I think, 2 million now.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy, man. These people are making money. We're doing something wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
Seriously.
Well, we're not Keanu Reeves either.
Give me a movie, damn it. Give me a movie.
You know, and credit to them all, man. I want to grow up and be just as successful as them. I don't want to be anyone but me.
Mhm.
Oh, is it still in? I don't know if it's still in demand. I think it. No, it is. So yeah, Cyberfrog is still in demand. I'm sorry, it's only made $1 million. It's
Mm.
actually
Oh.
seemingly stalled.
Yeah.
For a while, it was continuously rising. It is no longer doing that continuous rising thing.
Mhm.
Right.
But I mean, he's made $1 million. Like Meredith said, $1 million. That sets up your year. One book a year, you're done. You
That'll
just
set up,
paid your mortgage for the year.
that'll set up a couple years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to remember he has to deliver a lot, and he does
Yeah,
give.
that's just-
He does do action figures,
Mhm.
and he's got to pay his team, and I hear he pays well to his credit. So nothing but credit to him. I don't care about your politics. I don't care. I could not give a shit anymore about your politics. I don't subscribe to that. Now I care about how you act.
Yeah.
And he puts on, and if people don't understand this, shows like what Indie Vault does, shows even like what Ethan Van Sciver does, they're meant to be entertainment. They're not meant to be taken literally. You know, while the news is meant to be taken literally, Silverline does something where it's all the creators. Panels are meant to be taken seriously. Sometimes you need fun, entertaining shows, and Indie Vault gives some of the best entertaining shows out there with a great mix. You know, and I don't think the industry really appreciates how important those shows are. But I mean, Indie Vault, I know during the 2020, a lot of people have found shelter in there, having something to do, having somewhere to show up, having the normalcy of I'm going to tune in and, as Randy would call it, seeing the ass boys up to whatever they're doing. What is it? What's up, ass boys, or something like that?
Ass boys.
Ass
Sup,
boys.
ass.
Yeah. Sup ass. That's right. Sup ass boys. So
Sup, ass boys.
you know, and that's important, but so is a news program. So that's why I shifted gears, because like JD said, you look into your creative soul, you look into that mirror of it, and you go, what could I do different, and how should I be doing it? And you always want to. When a creator tells me that they're the best creator ever, I can't tell you how much my brakes are on at that point. I'm like, really? The people who come in and go, oh, I'm going to be legend. Oh, I create the best comic ever. I never heard Stan Lee once talk about him creating the best comic ever. I never heard about Neil Adams saying he was the best ever. This isn't sports, guys. You can't bring that same attitude in here. Because let me tell you, there are two things that are certain in comics. You're going to get fired eventually, and that if you don't go up the right way, you'll never go back up. So if you poop on people on your way up the ladder, you never go back up that ladder. It's just the truth. And you only get one shot at the ladder. Doesn't mean you won't backslide, but it's how you've treated people that lets you keep going to that next level. And I can't express that enough, and how important it is to be professional. You're not going to get along with everyone. You're going to get into fights. Your people are going to hate you, sometimes for good reason, mind you. But if you're overall a good person, you'll continue to rise and continue to make a difference in this industry. Meredith, how was your creative week?
I had a great creative week as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I had a lot of stuff that I was doing with Geek Insider and the other site, which I don't really talk about a lot here because it's not really comics related, but Wild One Forever. But as for me, I'm actually on my 4th edit of my comic book. And speaking of pivoting, in my head for the longest time, I was like, this is going to be a standalone. This is going to be a standalone. And eventually it will be. But my focus has now pivoted to getting the best first 8 pages done. So I've actually been putting out little feelers for artists whose style is kind of like in my head for what I see in my script. And so I'm at that point of going, hey, are you available, and how much does it cost? Because I'm on a tight budget. But I think that I can swing 8 pages because I don't know. Can we talk about the 3x3 in here?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, because Terraform Comics is, we're doing a 3x3 where we're getting creators to submit their 8 pages. We're trying to combine that into one book where we're highlighting those stories, that first like mini arc of maybe an entire book. Some people might when I first heard of the concept, I was like, oh, like an anthology. Well, the anthologies usually have like maybe your whole story in there. But what we're doing is we're actually taking a book, we're cutting it into thirds. We're taking the first 8 pages, putting it in the book. And as a new creator, if I can be published next to an established creator, that helps me get street cred. It helps get the book out there. And then, as a combined force to do some crowdfunding so that I don't know if it earns anything, I can use those funds to pay for the next 8 pages. Or, maybe finish off the book and say, okay, well, I'm going to take that and then release it as a whole. So there are so many things, but I'm at that point now where I'm so close to saying, okay, here are my 8 pages. I'm letting the baby go and having a couple people put eyeballs on it and say, okay, and just give me pointers and stuff. Because for prose, I actually do editing. For comic books, I'm still learning this whole script thing. So that's where I am creatively. I think it was great. I am pretty much struggling with that 8th page to go, okay, is that enough of a cliffhanger that people want more of this story? That's where I am.
All right. And the story that I picked this week that you guys didn't vote on was that Ball State comic book wins TAG award. There's not a lot to talk about with this, which is why we had open talk this show, because this is just a cool idea. They were told to represent their actual research findings in a unique fashion, and comic books were used. So I wanted to tip my hats to them. And I wanted to talk about one last thing in this room. And I thank you all for being here, Meredith and JD. I want to talk about just being professional with each other in the last couple of minutes we have. We've seen a lot of conflict this week. I've chosen not to cover any of that conflict. None of it really suited news. It wasn't newsworthy. It was people not liking each other and attacking each other and continuing this cancel culture. I can't stress to you how disheartening it is to watch this. As someone who's actually been tried to be canceled and had lies spread about me, I can tell you it is one of the worst moments of your life to actively have strangers saying things about you that aren't true. You'll never understand why it's coming from. And there are these people out there who have nothing better to do in life but to literally try to hurt you. And you're like, but why? Like you are left shaking your head, and like what JD was talking about, you start to feel like you suck. Like maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I caused this, and there's a lot that goes with this. So I want to end this program tonight in a positive way. I want you guys to talk about someone who's impressed you this week, that jumped out at you and you were like, wow, that person in comics, they're doing something. And I'll start so it gives you guys something to think about. I want to give credit to, believe it or not, I can't think of it. Luke Stone. I was like, wow, I'm blanking on him. Luke Stone had the hybrids thing. He extended his campaign, and he's just so positive about it. He's kept up this campaign, and I know he just got off of Voodoo Nations. He's got to be tired. This guy's been on Kickstarter as long as JD has, and JD lives on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, man. JD, that's his second job. He comes home and he campaigns. He's like a politician, but with comic books. So Luke's been doing it. Luke's kept a positive attitude. He showed up to all these shows. I'm impressed by that. There's someone in my circle that I saw, but it's a tie, though, with, of course, Victor Dandridge, who has just blown away this entire 2020 by staying positive, having a positive message, and getting his book finally approved. The Trouble with Love will be hitting Kickstarter on Monday. Can't wait to talk more about it. So those are a tie this week. 2 very important creators showing positivity in the space. Meredith, what do you got?
I got nothing, honestly. I've literally had my head down trying to get my own stuff taken care of. That I haven't seen what's been going on out there.
Let me ask a different question. Have you seen a moment this week in comics where you're like, that person, that's something to admire? Where you were like, wow, I see that person and that's something I admire?
I don't want this to feel like it's a reach around, but Rob, you would be that person.
And someone better. If I'm the person, we're in trouble. If I'm the beacon of light, we're in trouble.
The reason why is because I've seen you pivot. I've seen you pivot going into the Comic Newswire. I've seen you say, take something that you've been doing regularly and going, this is turning into an echo chamber. I watch Yana every day. You are not alone. I watch that just about every day, and I see what you're doing. All right, the advocacy has always been there. You are pointed north. You're a compass, and I don't want your head to explode or anything like that. JD, you're gonna be there, with the hat pin to pop it if that happens. But no, seriously, the consistency, the ability to pivot, and to really say, listen, I want to take an objective view of what's happening in comics. I think that's huge, and I think that needs to be recognized.
I got your check for you after the show. JD, who steps out this week as a positive moment?
See, well, I just wanted to say something. I don't use a pin. I use the claw tooth end of a hammer.
All right.
So,
New York.
I use a ball peen hammer because the claw thing gets stuck in the skull while the ball peen pops right.
No.
There goes everything Meredith said.
That's the Northeast mentality.
Yeah. No, I like the part that it gets stuck so you can pull it out. So, yeah.
Not the positive moment we wanted, but now you can go to Lowe's and pick your hammer.
Hey. I've got mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I don't necessarily think of when I look at the news and I look at these things, I don't necessarily look at them the same way you do. I don't look at it as like, oh, this person's being positive, this person's being negative. You understand? And what's going on in the industry that's positive? I mean, the only thing that I really see that's going on is positive is that indie comics in general is making strides forward. You understand? There are a lot of creators out there, a lot of creators just moving forward. And that's the sort of thing that I find really inspiring because we can all move forward. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. I love that, though. That's the perfect thing because that's what jumped out at you, and that was honest. I had pivoted to a person for Meredith because to help her kind of nail it down, but that's what we're looking for, that positive view. Support each other. It's so easy for me to talk about JD in a negative way just by being an asshole. But if I look in his eyes and I see the person he is, there's nothing bad I should be saying about him. So we have to remember that. We have to remember that he's not our competition. I'm not your competition. The person who stares at you is in the competition because when you think to take on JD or Meredith and talk negatively about them, you're only hurting yourself. Yeah, Meredith.
And I just wanted to say, every time I sit in a room like this with other creators who are making a living or just pursuing that dream, I learn something new, and I am inspired by that because there's no age, race, color, creed, or anything. These are people who just want to create.
Meredith, and talking. Sorry about that. Something opened when I looked at it. Yeah. But no, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And, we can only go up together or just hurt ourselves and look like amateurs. That's been the one problem with indie comics the longest it's been. Sometimes we act like amateurs, and I'm guilty. I have moments out there I wish I could have back. Absolutely will own the fact that I've never been perfect. And we're going to learn from each other. Sometimes we need to be held accountable. And I don't fight back when someone's telling me I'm wrong. I ask why. So if I leave with you anything, ask people why they think you're wrong. Because if they don't have a reason, it'll fall apart quick. But if they have a reason, maybe you need to slow down and really think about that. Because it's easy to say, fuck you. It's a lot harder to say, tell me why I'm wrong. Be humble and ask why you're wrong. With that, we're out of here, guys. I want to thank everyone for showing up. My guest, Meredith Logren, JD, all the people who made comments today. You guys are awesome. Keep creating. Keep buying comics. Remember, comics are
awesome.